Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Cinemondo podcast. This is going to be a favorite scenes episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that means we just look at a little part of a film, not the whole film. We look at just a little piece of it.
The inside lingo is scene.
Scene.
That's what they call it in the biz.
Our
Okay.
favorites. So these are totally disparate, different ones. And who wants to go first?
It'll be random.
Let's do let's just.
I'll go first. Why don't
Let
you-
Mark go first.
I'll go first.
I always go first. Let's
Yeah,
let Mark
I'll
go
go first.
Okay.
So this one is one of my favorite endings to one of my favorite films. And we usually don't go into romantic stuff like, that kind of stuff. This is a romantic film, a comedy from Billy Wilder from 1960. Billy Wilder is obviously one of the great directors of all time.
Yes.
He's a great screenwriter.
Yeah.
And he wrote this with I.A.L. Diamond, and they did Some Like It Hot a few years before this. This one is called The Apartment with Jack Lemmon, Shirley MacLaine, and Fred MacMurray. And it's basically about two people, Jack Lemmon and Shirley MacLaine, who are these low-level people at this corporation. And Jack Lemmon has an apartment right by the offices. And the mucky-muck higher-ups use his apartment for affairs. They bring their girlfriends
Yeah, it's
there.
like a hookup place.
Yeah,
Classy.
so
Yeah.
he has to get out of there, and it's just an awful life, but that's how he sort of stays in his job.
Right.
Shirley MacLaine and Jack Lemmon obviously have an affection for each other, but Shirley MacLaine is having an affair with Fred MacMurray, Jack
Right.
Lemmon's boss, Mr. Sheldrake.
Oh, it's so sordid.
I know,
Well, that's
it's-
what makes the movie have an edge to it.
Well, Billy Wilder made movies for grown-ups.
Yes.
At
Yes.
the time, when you watch his movies, there's no pandering, there's no baby talk. It's like this is reality, and those kind
Yeah.
of things happened back then. Even though
Yeah.
the movies didn't normally show it, everybody thinks that the 50s was all Leave It to Beaver, but no, there were people doing things like that in the
Yes.
50s.
I was
Yeah.
going to make an off-color joke, but I will not.
But what makes this is the ending of the film, and we pick it up where Shirley MacLaine just realizes that Jack Lemmon's character wouldn't let Fred MacMurray's character bring her over to his apartment,
Right.
and he loses his job over it. So Fred MacMurray's like, I don't know what's wrong with Baxter. I mean, he lost his job, and he must have something against you, Miss Kubelik. Why wouldn't he let me bring him over? And
Right.
so she realizes what's happened, and this is
See?
where the scene picks up, and it
Okay.
also has a great ending.
All right.
Okay.
Ready?
Let's do
Let's
it.
watch it.
Who do we ask to roll the clip?
Just tell Jimmy. He's our usual.
Okay, Jimmy, roll that clip.
Oh, the running piece.
I know.
She's so happy.
This wonderful music. Oh.
Are you all right?
I'm fine.
Are you sure? How's your knee?
I'm fine all over.
Mind if I come in?
Of course not. Let me get another glass.
Where are you going?
Well, who knows? Another neighborhood, another town, another job. I'm on my own.
That's funny. So am I. What'd you do with the cards?
In there. What about Mr. Sheldrake?
I'm gonna send him a fruitcake every Christmas. Cut.
I love you, Miss Kubelik.
3. Queen.
Did you hear what I said, Miss Kubelik? I absolutely adore you.
Shut up and deal.
I love a love scene that ends in shut up.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
And they just start smiling at the very end. So
Yeah.
finally, as the movie goes away,
Yeah.
they finally sort of are like, they're going to be together. And that line, like, what up, Mr. Sheldrake?
Yeah.
And she goes, we'll send him a fruitcake every Christmas,
sweet.
which means that they're going to be together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just
She takes
really
that coat off. She's there to stay.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Beautifully written stuff.
And
Really
how could
pretty.
you not like either one of them?
Oh,
they're
so
just like, they're
cute.
perfect together.
Yes.
So cute.
So it's just it's my favorite romantic comedy.
Oh,
and
that's
it's
so
one of my
sweet.
favorites.
It's a good one. It's a smart, beautifully written film.
Yeah.
It's beautifully shot too.
Yeah.
It's just a good movie
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
all around.
All right, who's next?
Me? Everybody's looking at me. All right, I'll give a little intro to this one too. This is a movie that I loved the minute I saw it when it came out and saw it in the theater. Even though I admit that it is the dorkiest movie.
Oh my God, beyond.
It's dorky in such a cool way. Some people say it's like a comic book movie, and it kind of is. It's a fantasy film about what I tend to like things that are made by people who don't know what the hell they're talking about. For some reason, there's a weird naivete to films like that. Like Beyond the Valley of the Dolls, it was Roger Ebert, and he didn't know anything about Hollywood,
Clearly.
fancy parties and stuff. So he used his imagination, and he was like, "What if there was these crazy Hollywood parties with bands playing and people going nuts in the '60s?" And this movie is called The Warriors, and it's about street gangs in New York. Written by
Street gangs.
Written by someone who kind of maybe didn't know very much about them or didn't know the real street savvy people. It's not one of those gritty 70s movies that understands the streets. It's a fantasy about gangs, and in that way, I think it is a beautiful film. The characters in it are very iconic looking. Each one of them has their style. They all have names like Cochise and Swan, and
one of the gangs is the denim overalls and roller skates.
Yeah.
Oh my God, so bad.
One of them is dress up like baseball players, and they paint their faces. And
They spend a lot of time in front of the mirror for sure.
Yeah. But it's such a fun movie, and it's a hero's quest. It's like what is it, Ulysses or something? There's a classic myth that it's based on Sisyphus or something. I don't know, but the idea is that the gang goes. There's a big meeting of all the gangs. They're going to bring the gangs together. And there's this one really sleazy gang that assassinates this guy who's trying to put the gangs together. And then he points at the Warriors and he's like, "It was the Warriors. I saw it."
And of course, everyone believes him.
And so then for the rest of the night, and they also are in cahoots with the local DJ. And she's on the radio sort of speaking through the whole night in this kind of coded language, telling everybody that the Warriors are the ones who did this terrible thing. And so all the gangs of New York are chasing the Warriors back, and they're just trying to get back home to Coney Island. And so this is the scene. This is a scene that's like near the end of the film where that crazy gang who actually assassinated Cyrus or whatever was his name, Cyrus was trying to bring the gangs together. And can you dig it?
Yeah.
And so these guys have caught up with the Warriors, and they're on their turf. They found them, Coney Island. And this is when they show up, and the Warriors have just been through a night of hell running through the streets.
And they look like it.
Yeah. But they all still look so cool, and everybody. But this is that scene where the gang shows up, the bad gang shows up, and it's a very threatening scene. I think
So
it's just
good.
it's like it's so comic booky again. There's like the villains, and they all, and the good guys. They're like superhero team in a way, the Warriors, because they all have their names. Swan, Cochise, and they all have their power, and they all each have a superpower.
Yeah.
And the villains are all dressed, in their superhero costumes, and they're like super villains, and they each have their ability. The baseball guys all have these baseball bats, and the guys on skates, they can skate around in the subway, and
How'd they get downstairs?
Right.
Yeah.
Of course.
How'd that work?
they don't let people watch when they do that.
That they
I think
scoot down the stairs.
I think it's just interesting that they decided on the three,
That was
beer
cool.
bottles to make
Yeah.
that sign.
That was very cool.
Yeah.
Like, where did that come from? Is that something that people do?
Exactly. Yeah.
And
it's
it's
so strange.
But it is kind of old, again, mythology in the old fashioned, how you used to have drummers during wars and musical instruments used as something to get people ready for battle,
Right.
like the fifes and the pipers and whatever on the battlefield.
Right.
And that to me is sort of like it's because it's literally garbage. He's like picked up these garbage things and it's very street, empty beer bottles or whatever.
It's an iconic scene.
Very
the
cool
film.
scene.
Yeah. I love it. And it's just the whole movie is great. It's
Yeah.
full of really fun, iconic scenes. But don't expect it to be
Good.
The French Connection or, Taxi Driver or something.
It's a late 70s film.
Yeah.
We started going into that vein. There was a cheesy factor because in 1979, I didn't think it was cheesy. It was scary to me. But
when I saw it when it came out, I was like, "Wow, is that real? There are really gangs like that in New
it's a
York?
different thing,
I'm going to go to New York and join a
Right.
gang."
That's funny.
All right, Kathy, how about you?
I did not like it. Anyway, it was just too silly. So I have a scene. I'm not even going to explain it. I'm going to say it's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It's Quentin Tarantino. It's Brad Pitt. That's all you really need.
So
to
we
know.
should watch this and sort of guess what
Let's
it is
watch
about
it
that
and
you
we'll
like.
talk about what it is that is good about this scene.
All right. We'll see.
Okay.
Let's see what
check
it
it
is. Okay.
Parkour there.
So do you think he did that?
It's interesting. He plays a stuntman. I wonder if he had a stuntman for that
That's
scene.
true. I didn't think about that.
Oh, you like that architecture, that mid-century
Yeah.
modern architecture.
The landscape.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a period correct antenna.
Right.
That's funny. Yeah. Just Sharon Tate.
Seems this world got you down. You're feeling bad vibrations ground. Well, open your eyes, girl. Look at me.
Everybody smoked.
Everybody. It was cool then.
Yes, it was. No filters.
Nope. No filters.
I've been meaning to tell you, the guy who gaffs this, best friend was Randy, the guy from the Green Hornet. So really ain't no point.
So I don't think it's really that much of a stretch to see why we like this scene. I say we, I mean me. But I think when I saw this movie in the theater, I saw it at the ArcLight, and the big sell on this film is actually shot on film, and so you're very excited to go see this movie. So it was packed house. Went in when this scene happened. When Brad Pitt gets up there and the shirt comes off, there was literally gasps.
Same.
You just kind of, and you can't even help it. Like watching it going, like you can't breathe for a second. The man is beautiful and he's not young and he looks amazing. So it's like, it's just impressive on a lot of levels. And I also like that you see him like that without a shirt on and you go, okay, he's a stuntman in the film. He's supposed to be in shape, but it's like, it's a whole other level. And so you see him also having to come to terms with he's getting older in the business, and that's becoming a problem for him and his boss.
Right.
So I really liked all of that. And you get him taking a little peek at Sharon Tate, but not being a gross peeper. Like he sees her and goes, the neighbors. And he just kind of looks away. And, and I love seeing like the landscape, the Los Angeles landscape in there. I'll just throw that in there as if I wasn't so I'm looking at anything besides Brad Pitt's abs. But so, yeah, I just wanted just to show something beautiful, and just that I remember the audience reaction about how everyone just reflexively gasps. And it was just kind of a nice, beautiful scene.
He also has scars. You see
Yeah.
these scars on him too.
Yeah. His stunt injuries.
Well, we might not. I don't think we saw it the same showing, but the gasps happened when I saw it too. So it was kind of a universal gasping at a very, very good-looking guy.
Well, because he's wearing this
shirt.
big baggy, goofy shirt, like
Right.
Hawaiian shirt kind of thing, and he's not showing off at all. So when that comes off, you're kind of shocked for a second. You know, you can't help it.
And it's a hell of a movie. I mean,
It's an amazing. I love the
it's
movie.
It's a great film.
And that's just one of many. You know, Quentin Tarantino always has like a lot of like very iconic, you know, memorable scenes. You'll be seeing a lot of those coming up probably.
Yeah.
But that's my scene. Doesn't need a lot of explanation, but just a personal experience and appreciation for all that is Brad Pitt.
Well, it's also I'll just say one last thing about it. It is a old fashioned kind of a scene too in a lot of ways. There's old movies that would introduce characters or show you a character in a way that you can tell, okay, this is designed to sort of show them off as a sex symbol kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I don't know. That's one of those scenes. And I always, with Quentin Tarantino, you have to know that everything he does is sort of calculated and contrived to draw attention to his knowledge of old films and old tropes.
Right.
There was one example in this movie. Somebody looks in a mirror and they do that old TV trick where they are looking in the mirror, but you know what they're looking at is the camera.
Yeah.
So the reflection isn't them looking at themselves, but it's that weird thing where one is looking this way, one's looking that way. But it made you think, wow, old television,
Right.
old movies, and you know that was totally calculated. Totally on purpose. And this was too, I think. This was, I mean, when they shot this scene, he knew that there were going to be those gasps in the audience.
Oh, yeah.
It was obvious that it's like, okay, here's the Brad Pitt chick taking off his shirt on the roof scene.
There's this scene, and there's Daniel Craig coming out of the ocean
From the first
in
Bond
Bonds
film,
that is forever burned on my brain. Those are two gaspy scenes. There, you have it. Have it for me. Done.
Well, those are three very different,
Very
favorite
different.
scenes,
Yeah.
but all worthy to be on our podcast.
Yes.
Yeah.
On Cinmondo.
Thanks for joining
There'll
us.
be more. Keep listening.
Subscribe,
Like,
Comment.
comment.
and be sure and comment and tell us
Yeah.
your favorite scenes.
Yes.
Tell us what your favorite scenes are. Tell us down there in the comments.
Mhm.
And we'll discuss.
Yeah.
All right.
Until next time, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.